woman from the shadows. The journey to Seraphis took 3 days. 3 days of dusty roads, restless nights, and silent determination. Selene Voss spoke to almost no one along the way. She traveled with merchants when it was safe and walked alone when it wasn't. Every village she passed seemed to tell the same story. People smiled when they spoke the king's name. King Seri William rebuilt our bridge. The king's soldiers drove away the bandits. Our children attend schools because of the king. Each story chipped away at the image Selene had carried in her heart for years. Could a cruel king inspire such loyalty? She refused to let the question take root. "My family is gone," she whispered to herself. "Good deeds cannot erase old crimes." When the golden walls of Seraphis finally appeared on the horizon, she stopped walking. The city looked even more magnificent than she remembered from childhood. For a brief moment, she simply stared. Then she pulled the hood of her cloak over her head and continued. The city gates bustled with activity. Caravans waited in long lines. Blacksmiths unloaded iron. Farmers brought fresh harvests into the capital. Royal guards searched every cart before allowing entry. Among them stood Sir Roland Ashford. Even after decades of peace, he insisted on inspecting travelers himself. "A kingdom falls," he often said, "the moment its guards become lazy." One by one, travelers stepped forward. When Selene reached the front, a young guard asked, "Your name?" "Selene." "Family?" "I have none." "Occupation?" "I can sew, cook, and read." The guard looked surprised. "You can read?" "My father taught me." Sir Roland glanced toward her. His sharp eyes lingered for only a second. She looked tired, poor, harmless. "Let her enter," Roland said. The gates slowly opened. Selene crossed the threshold without looking back. Behind her, the massive gates closed with a deep, thunderous sound. The first barrier had fallen. The capital was alive. Music drifted through the streets. Perfume mixed with the smell of fresh bread. Children chased pigeons across crowded squares, while merchants called out their prices. To everyone else, it was paradise. To Selene, it was a fortress. She carefully observed everything. Guard patrols changed every hour. Messengers entered the palace through the eastern gate. Nobles preferred gathering in expensive restaurants after sunset. Every detail mattered. She wasn't simply exploring the city. She was studying it. Finding work proved easier than expected. A respected tavern near the royal square needed another server. The owner, an elderly man named Tobias, looked over her worn clothes. "You've worked before?" "Yes." "Can you carry 4 plates at once?" "I can carry 5. The old man laughed. "Good answer." By sunset, Selene had a job. Days turned into weeks. She arrived before sunrise and left long after midnight. She worked harder than anyone else. She remembered every customer's favorite meal. She learned every regular's name. Most importantly, she listened. Merchants loved to boast. Soldiers loved to complain. Nobles loved to gossip. And people often revealed their greatest secrets without realizing it. Every evening after the tavern closed, Selene returned to her tiny rented room. There she opened a worn leather journal. Inside, she wrote everything she had learned. The names of influential merchants, the schedules of palace servants, the rivalries between noble families. Nothing seemed important by itself. Together, they formed a map of the kingdom's hidden weaknesses. One rainy evening, the tavern doors swung open. Conversation immediately quieted. A wealthy noble entered, dressed in black robes embroidered with silver. Behind him walked 2 armed guards. The tavern owner hurried forward. "My lord, welcome." It was Lord Malric Thorne, one of the most influential men in Seraphis. Selene served his table without speaking. She poured his wine, placed his meal before him, then quietly turned to leave. "Wait." She stopped. Malric studied her carefully. "You are new." "Yes, my lord." "You don't seem nervous." "I've learned that fear often causes mistakes." For the first time that evening, Lord Malric smiled. An interesting answer. He slid several gold coins across the table. "For your excellent service." Selene accepted them with a respectful bow. "My gratitude, my lord." As she walked away, Malric continued watching her. Most people tried desperately to impress powerful men. This young woman had done the opposite. She had remained calm, confident, almost too confident. Elsewhere in the palace, Lady Elara organized reports from every province. Everything appeared perfect. Harvests were abundant, trade flourished, crime remained low. Yet something troubled her. She couldn't explain why. She simply felt as though the kingdom had become too comfortable. Prince Adrian entered quietly. "You wish to see me?" She smiled. "Come." Together they stood beside a large map of the kingdom. "What do you see?" she asked. Adrian studied it. "A peaceful kingdom," Elara nodded. "Now tell me what you don't see." He looked again. "I don't understand." "You see our borders." "Yes." "You see our allies." "Yes." "But danger rarely announces itself with marching armies." She pointed to the heart of the kingdom. "The greatest threats often begin here." Adrian frowned. "Inside our own walls?" She nodded. "A single lie can destroy what 10,000 soldiers cannot." Those words echoed in the prince's mind. That same night, Sir Roland completed his routine inspection of the palace grounds. Everything appeared normal. Still, he couldn't shake an uneasy feeling. One of his captains approached. "Commander, what is it?" "The new servant working near the royal square." "The young woman?" "Yes." "What about her?" "Nothing, sir." Roland looked toward the sleeping city. "Exactly." The captain looked confused. "I don't understand." Roland folded his arms. "In 25 years, I've learned something. When a stranger arrives with no enemies, they usually haven't been here long enough." The captain laughed softly. "You suspect everyone." Roland smiled. "That's why the king is still alive." Across the city, Selene stood before her small window. The palace towers shimmered beneath the moonlight. She opened her journal. Most of its pages were now filled. Only one page remained blank. She dipped her pen into ink, then carefully wrote a single sentence. "Step 1, complete." She closed the journal. "The gates welcomed me. The city trusts me." She looked toward the distant palace. "Now, I must find a way inside." As thunder rolled across the night sky, a raven landed outside her window. It let out a single cry before disappearing into the darkness. Selene watched it fly toward the palace. A faint smile crossed her face. The game has begun. She did not know that, at that very moment, Sir Roland Ashford stood on the palace walls, staring into the same darkness. He couldn't see her. He didn't know her name. But for the first time in many years, the kingdom's greatest commander felt something he had almost forgotten. A warning, and somewhere beyond the palace lights, fate quietly took its first step toward changing the destiny of Seraphis forever.